Ani, Bojo, Wapska, Sinique, Indigenous cause, Segana and Donjaba, Carp Zogaging Mont Pinada, Danja Bomcock Makana Minising, Mashiki and Dodem, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Quain Dow. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 58th episode of Red Hoop Talk, a Native news and talk show. Calling Medicine. And coming to you live from the heart of Anishinaabe territory in northern Michigan, the Great Lakes state. I'm the program director with the Association on American Indian Affairs and a citizen of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. And we have a very special episode tonight because we have a group of what I call, in my language, Anishinaabemoan, Mindemoye, women who hold a lot of wisdom and respect and are very important to their communities. And we were asked to provide a platform to discuss a hot topic in Indian country and one that seems to have a lot of passion behind it, women and the drum. And because tonight's discussion is very spiritual in nature, as you will hear, there's a lot of passion and heart behind these discussions. We know and understand that we must start this conversation out in a good way. And so I'd like to ask all of the women behind the scenes to join me so that we can ask our good friend, Judy De Silva, to start us off in a prayer.
Bonjour. Bishkoki's go condition cause shown to them. Shamlet no got no connect. The Frenchman nem nongum. Chinon doang nongum a kalkik dong. When nongum chattishantamang nagum win te kanaka kigabin on chance to go by out. Chanik kandamat mean nagum winan. Meet the skeg te kanak. Nimishomsananik no kumanangan. You got to get the feet to me on mean to Bishkoki's book, Bishondota. Okay, you got.
Oh, good, Judy, for those beautiful words. Wow, I'm so excited to see you all. So let's get you all introduced to the audience. Pura Fe, would you like to start us off?
Yes. Hi. Well, yeah. Chwana I'm Pura Fe, and I'm from the Tuscarora Nation in North Carolina and Taino. And I'm a singer. I'm a mother of many little kids. and I don't think I need to say any more. That's who I am. Okay, thank you.
Oh, miigwech. I'll just go in order of who I see this way. Or wait, it's that way. Judy, you'd be next.
Oh, okay. Bonjour, Bishkoki's book condition cause Bishondota. I'm Judy De Silva from Grassy Narrows, Ontario. And I'm a mother. I'm a mother with 5 children, grown children, and 1 granddaughter, and many grandchildren. And I'm proud to be a gokum, a grandma. But I'm also a singer with a big drum, with my sisters and my nieces. Miigwech.
How miigwech. And Sharon?
Bujun and Indaway Maganidug, Nagamomaingan and Dishnakas, Wabashashin Dodem, Ojibwe Koyan Down, Dishnajo Medeo. I'm from Boys Fort, just south of the International Falls there. And I'm a mother. I have 2 daughters. I have 5 grandchildren. I'm also I like to call myself an Indigi queer. And been singing for a long time. And we, me and my sisters, sang in ceremonies, and then one day we made a group to sing. Thank you.
Miigwech, Sharon. And
There was a little sound loop. Bujun Indoi Maganiduk. Natana Gamakoin Indigenicas, Magizi Nindodem, Nagajiwanang Nindonjaba. I am Lyz Jaakola. I live at Fond du Lac Reservation in Minnesota. I've been singing with a hand drum since I don't even 30 years maybe, and my community has developed a group of ladies singing with hand drums. We call ourselves Oti Gijik Singers, and we host an annual gathering down here where we try to encourage each other and learn from elders, in our community and other communities that come down and help us to, know how to be Anishinaabe Kwe singers. So I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor to be in this space with all of you. Miigwech for inviting me.
Now, miigwech, Lyz and Dona.
Oh, bonjour, bidana kwa dukwe Indigenous Kaz, Jijak and Dodem, Moshkazi being in Dunjaba, Minawa Hautnashoni, Minawa Maniduwag in Dunjaba. So what I said was my name is Coming Cloud Woman, Crane Clan. I'm Bad River Ojibwe enrolled and part Oneida, and I live in Manitowoc and Wisconsin right now. I found my voice when I was 16. I really didn't know I could sing until people started asking me to sing at their weddings and stuff like that, and then funerals and church, and then and then all of a sudden I started singing in ceremony, sweat lodge, and then someone gifted me a drum. My brother Dennis Morrison gifted me a drum, and been singing ever since. Started a women's hand drum group called Strawberry Moon Women Singers, and we were together for about 8 years, and then we just dissolved about last March because we're just too far apart from each other to practice and grow. And so I was asked to be a part of another drum group called the Nibi Singers, and that's with Mary Ellen and Tinker and Suzanne from Ojibwe women from northern Wisconsin. So anyway, that's me, and happy to be here. Miigwech.
Nahau, miigwech, Dona. And Theresa?
Sego Zewokweko, Kagyoko Kayugetsu Katahuni. Hello everyone. My name is Gagyok Rokta, which means I'm at the back of a crowd of people. My nickname is Bear Fox. I have 12 grandchildren. I'm a mother of 5, and I'm a language teacher. I don't know all my language, but I'm trying to teach as much as a language that I know. And I always love to sing, and I'm a songwriter also. And it's really good to be here with all of you. Yawa.
Miigwech, Theresa.
Yeah.
And Chickadee. You're on mute.
Hey, hello everyone. Bonjour. It's wonderful to see women from all over that share the same passion as singing and drumming. I'm originally from Sandy Bay, Manitoba. I live in Winnipeg, and I've been singing probably about 36 years or so, maybe 37. I used to sing behind men at the powwows, make them sound good. And then I had a dream about a drum, and it's history then. But I really enjoy singing. I really, love the fact that women sing and drum, and also the fact that, we're also very creative in making songs for the people, or the spirits come to us to make those songs. So I'm very happy to be here. Miigwech.
Nahau, miigwech. And Richelle?
Bonjour, kiwit nong nakikoy dijnakas, mayengundo dem St. Peter's Nadonji. I'm from Peguis, but Little Peguis. I live currently in Winnipeg, and very blessed to be part of this group. My traditional name, one of them that I carry, is North Star, and so for me, being an educator in our schools, I've always taken it upon myself to make sure that our little ones are drumming and singing, and so many groups have been formed out of that. You may have seen the Winnipeg Jets when the kids sang for the Winnipeg Jets. That was one of my former groups, and so very proud to see them continuing on those traditions, and it just makes me very proud to see singing flourish because it's part of our healing. Miigwech.
Naha miigwech. Well, I'd like to just say how honored I am to sit in this space with all of you. I have not shared a space virtually with this many amazing Mindamoya, amazing women. So this is truly an honor. And I know when we were planning how this discussion would look, we were talking about the importance of going back and talking about kind of the deep-rooted history and how we got here, right? And what kind of influences took place around this issue. And so I know that we talked about going back to some storytelling and talking about some of that history. And so I wonder if we could go over to Pura Fe to talk about that, and maybe you could introduce your partner there. Or she's shy now. You're on mute.
Am I?
There you are.
Okay. Yeah, that's Annabelle, who sings really well. And I was hoping she'd sing a little something. But so I'm living now up in northern Saskatchewan, and very different from where I'm from. And being up here, I've been trying to connect with the community and women and children to sing. And so it's not been easy. And things are different up here. But I'm finding that it's not so different everywhere. But and I just recently finally got through after some of the COVID moving and got to go into the school once in Canoe Lake, and then facilitating with my friend Marie Mahalik, who has a grief and trauma group of healers, and they facilitate like 4 days out in the bush and just learn lots of stuff and just anyway. So finally, I'm working with young women, and so all up here is Dene and Cree and Métis, and so we started working with singing and making drums and so forth, and it's been very good. But they've all say that they are told that they can't play, that they can't sing, and so that's what I've been dealing with this year, more than a year since I've been here, really. And I really wanted to, because I was on the show with you, Colleen and Shannon, and somehow or another we talked about drums and women, and I said, we should do a show like that. And it suggested if you wanted to do that. I said, oh yeah, I know some women. So I know some great women, and I think I've sang with every one of you, and I love you all so much. And I learned so much from all of you. And because where I come from, we lost so much. So you all are my teachers. And years ago, when I picked up a drum with Sonny, and we eventually became Eulalie, and my cousin came along, we just went for it. We didn't know. We were just doing what came naturally and started singing. And so I met a lot of you because of that. And early on, I met Sharon that way, and we sang, both our groups sang together. And so through the years, I just keep meeting more women. And finally, for the first time, sat down at the big drum with Judy and Chickadee. That was great. I've sang with Theresa. I've sang with all of you, and with Lyz, all of you. So with all the struggles that women are having, the drum is so healing, and it means so much. And being told that you cannot, I think it's time that we start teaching again the creation stories and the origins and the prophecies and all of that around the drums. And it's just recently that I'm even learning more about the big drum. So these stories aren't mine to tell, and they come from your tribal backgrounds, your families, your lands, your people. And so much coming from women, like drums and pipes and rattles and everything, and being so many different rites and so forth. People don't know this. And I think it's important that we begin to tell the stories again, and the purpose of these instruments and the purpose of all these things. And peace is always the very core of it. And so that's all I'm going to say. And I just want to hand this to all of you amazing women to tell the stories. And that's it for me. Thank you. Yahweh.
Well, me Gwedge. And so I wonder if there's someone who can, like, I'd really like to be clear with the audience, you know, what the issue is. Maybe what exactly are we discussing tonight?
Judy's trying to say something. She's muted.
You're on mute, Judy.
You're on mute.
There you are.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to say, first of all, is being like in a women's drum group in Northern Ontario, which is like near Kenora, and like singing with Chickadee and Betty Maud and Connie West, like when we're in our young years in 1980s, we just had this yearning to sing. But when I came home to my community, my younger brother, Adrian Kijik, he gave a big drum to my sisters, Roberta Kijik and Rachel Kijik. And so that was 1993. So what we faced after that was male patriarchy, going to powwows, and then the men belittling us as women, our own men, and saying that women don't hit the drum, and that you stand behind the drum, all these kind of teachings that were like pushed on us as Anishinaabe. But meanwhile, like my nieces and my sisters, we sang, and it felt so right. It felt so perfect. And I think I want to bring that out, is how our own men are like patriarchal to us. And I feel like it's a learned behavior, and it's not an ancestral behavior. So I want to bring that out first, and we can continue on. But I'll give one example. My nieces went to a powwow near Kenora. It was a traditional powwow, and the MC kept making comments about, I wasn't there, but my nieces told me after, because my nieces, they're all pretty and they're all young, and my sisters were there too. They're older, but my younger nieces. Anyways, the MC kept making comments that were very sexual, and one of the the things I didn't like was when he said, you know, the kissing booth is over there, and he pointed to our women's drum group, and he said, you'll get some tongue. And that really bothered me a lot, because I thought, you know, that's our own people. But I want to bring that out, you know, that this is not how our people are, and we need to bring out the respect, the love that our men do have for us. But there are a few colonized, I want to say they're colonized people, and they almost infect the other young men with that way of thinking. So I'll just start it off like that, and then you can go from there, or you can change it or whatever, but that really bothered me.
Thank you for sharing that. That really, really touched a nerve inside of me. And what I keep hearing is that this is from our own people. And I want to really talk about that, maybe that colonial influence that is kind of, I know at least in my area where I'm from, we've had 500 years of contact here. So I know that colonial influence is deep-rooted in a lot of our communities. Is that what you're seeing?
Am I still on the?
Yep, you're still on, and feel free. Anyone else can unmute anytime.
Okay.
So
And
what I wanted to say, like, I already have a bad feeling for saying this, but it's just like where we're also told to be quiet, where we're also told to not bring these things out, and I already feel worried. You know, what will the backlash be? But it's also being able to say it here now publicly, but I want to make it clear it's not all Anishinaabe men, it's just a few. But it's also Anishinaabe Greg that believe that way, that women don't hit the drum. But the other thing I wanted to say is the drum that was given to us by my brother Adrian, what he brought to life was actually my dad's memory. My late dad, he said that his grandmother carried a big drum. So what happened was it kind of broke that open. And then we found out that my great-grandmother had a big drum. So what that made clear to me is that maybe 175 years ago or more, our women carried drums and they were able to hit the drum. So that's kind of what brought that out.
I think a story that was often is shared with me in the city from women drummers, whether it be hand drum or even big drum, is that the same kind of shame that Judy's talking about. I don't remember necessarily the comments being of a sexual nature, but often the girls or the women would have really hurt feelings and really be struggling about whether or not that they were allowed to carry the drum after that. As a matter of fact, even one drum group that went to powwow was made fun of so badly because they thought they were the bomb, right? And were made fun of by the other male drum groups. And unfortunately, they dissolved shortly after that. They couldn't actually recover from that kind of shame and that kind of ridicule. And so I have these kinds of questions or conversations with young women all the time in the city and always try to encourage them to keep going, right? We may not be as good, and I'm doing air quotes, as some of the male drums because we're still trying to gain back that power, right? And so when we quit, we're not going to get better, right? And so to encourage them to continue and carry on, and that also it's okay to make mistakes. I think a lot of these the way that we think now are policies from residential school, right? Indian Act policies that only want to deal with the men and pushing Two-Spirit people away from ceremony as well. I think we need to be now having these tough conversations. And yes, again, the backlash that I might receive in the city, same thing. But I think I've got to the point now where I don't care. It's okay to have these conversations. And if we're feeling uncomfortable, you know what? Great, because that means we're doing our best learning.
Me, Gretch. I think Sharon, were you going to share something?
Yeah, I can. So I, I come from a family of singers. My grandfather and my father. My father composed many songs, and but when we talk about the drum, the first drum that we were gifted with, we at Ojibwe, was that little boy water drum and the grandfather drum, and that drum is made from the tree, and it's filled with, it's a hollowed out, and it's filled with water, and then we place medicines in there, and it's covered with the deer hide, and those seven little asin, those little grandmothers that are around the edge. Those are those represent our seven sacred teachings. And when we blow into that drum, we're blowing that breath of life in the same way we were blown that breath of life. That breath of life was breathed into us, and that drum represents everything that's on the earth. And in our lodge, women can sit at that drum. Women can sit at the grandfather drum, and that is the most sacred drum. That drum came before all of these other drums, and there are other tribes that have water drums as well. I have a small one that was gifted to me from the Haudenosaunee people, and of course there's a water drum that's used. And I was in California once, and some of the tribal people there invited me to come sing with them one afternoon, and they had a water drum. And so, when you hear that sound with that water in there, it's like no other sound. And so those are our first drums. And the big drum came later, the hand drums came later. And even in the story, that big drum coming to the Ojibwe people, there was an old woman, her name was Rose Barstow. And she was from Mille Lacs, and she told me and some other young women at that time, this is probably back in the late 80s, a story about how there was a battle, and we had differences with each other among the tribes, and it was the Dakota and Ojibwe and Seneca were all at war. And the story goes that they were at this little girl, and her little brother. They were by a lake, and this battle broke out. And this little girl, she went under the water, and she had a reed in her mouth, and she was able to breathe through her mouth, and that battle took place. And I don't remember everything word for word, but what happened after a while, she came up out of that water, and there was a mist. And when she looked around, she could see, the fallen warriors laying on the ground, and she began to cry. And through that mist, she could hear a sound, and something was coming towards her. And it was a woman with that drum, that big drum, and she said to take it to the Ojibwe people, and that then there would be peace. And there was some reenactment of that a couple of years ago, where Orville Looking Horse and Paula brought a drum to relax. And so, these other drums, they came later. And I started singing, as I said, with my sisters in ceremony. We used to sing in the sweats and stuff. And then in 1988, we were having it was the first contemporary two-spirit, what was even had that word then. Two-spirit, LGBT Native people here in Minneapolis. That was in 1989, I believe. And we were going to have a benefit, and we didn't have any singers. And so I told the people, well, me and my sisters can sing. Well, they didn't even know what it was for, but I told them we had to sing. And so we got our hand drums out and we practiced a few weeks, and then we sang. And people liked it, And so we kind of copied Pura Fe and Ukulele, and we did some 3-part harmony the best we could, and they liked it. And so we called ourselves the Indigenous Women Singers, and we sang for, quite a few years after that. And then a few years after that, there was a big drum that was gifted to these women in Minneapolis, and it was blessed by Kendall and Lillian Rice. And I asked, Lillian was, I lost my mother when I was 36, and Kendall and Lillian immediately began calling me Adonis. And one day I said to Lillian, I wish to learn how to make a hand drum. And I said, and I know that you make hand drums. And she looked at me and I said, what do people say about that? And I remember she told me, she said, I do what I want to. And I don't always tell people about it. And a few years later, this man, William Wilson, came and he had doctored my grandson. And he stayed with me for a while. And I told him, William, I know you know how to make hand drums and I wish to learn. And he said, okay. And so we got the materials and we made hand drums. And since then, I've helped many, many people make their own drums, hand drums. And, back to our creation story, in the beginning, before the beginning, there was a single thought that rang out. And they say that sound, that first sound that was heard in the universe was the sound of seeds in a gourd rattle. And that put everything into place. And they say, like, if we all knew our creation stories, we would know where our places were and what our roles were and what our behaviors were to be like to each other. And, in those 7 sacred teachings, it says to respect, to love, to be generous, to be courageous, to be respectful, and to be humble, and to seek wisdom. And I don't know if I said 6 or 7, but anyhow, those sacred teachings, if we practice those teachings, there is no way that we could be unkind to anybody or be disrespectful, men to women or women to men, or heterosexuals to queers. We those are not in any of our teachings, and I do not wish to be like those settlers that came here and took. I wish to be here and to negotiate my relationships with everyone. But we all have a voice, and we were meant to use it, and we were meant to use that voice to practice our original teachings. So I will quit there and listen to what everybody else has to say. But I just want to say, miigwech to Pura Fe, because she was our role model. And whenever I invited her to come, I remember one day women came with all their drums and we were sitting at All Nations Church and singing. And that was a glorious day. And we've had many. So Chimigwach, Pura Fe, and for the role model, the positive role model you've been to so many, and for your songs. And I love you very much.
Miigwech for those beautiful words and reminder to follow our original teachings. Sharon, that reminded me of a word that I know that was shared with me long ago by someone I really, really respect. And the word is Wido Kage, and it means to help one another. Just reminding me of things over here, and I'm getting a little choked up listening to you speak. So miigwech for those beautiful words. Does anyone else want to share anything at this time?
If I could.
Absolutely.
I want to apologize to those elders. I'll try to keep it brief. When I started, I've sung my whole life, and I think, when we're born, that's the first thing we do is exercise that sound, right? And that distinguishes us from all the rest of creation, like that first sound, and the creation responds. And so I never thought, that it would be controversial for me to use my voice. And when I decided to become a teacher, that was when I then received a hand drum, and I was singing, and then over the time that I was singing, some people then asked me, well, who said you could do that? And I was like kind of baffled. Well, aren't we all born with this voice? And I didn't think much about it, at first, until it happened a few times, right? And then I'm not sure what's going on here. And so I started talking to people that were encouraging me to sing, and said, this is happening, and then they said, don't worry, just keep singing, and those were women mostly that were encouraging me to sing, and it was mostly men who were asking me, who told me I could do it. And so over time, and I had a dream about having a drum, and that was a very powerful dream. It was one of those dreams that like, hey, I better put out some offerings and really think about this, and because I knew the responsibilities of walking, carrying a drum, and so it wasn't just me haphazardly deciding I want to do something, and so that dream it gave me that. I mean, I there's no choice, right? I mean, you do what they guide you to do, or you have troubles, and so that's why I was really kind of like, well, what's going on here, where people are asking me about this, and then I started based on other women who I saw singing with hand drums, and talking with other women and elder women who are singing, that I started kind of thinking about maybe having a group, but I hadn't yet made that decision. And I went to Toronto for a gathering. I think it was Native Women in the Arts who invited me up, and one of the elders there said, well, have you started your group yet? And I didn't even know that woman who asked me that. And I was like, no. I was done. And so then that kind of planted even, maybe I should, I don't know. So I started talking to some other ladies again, and said, do you want to sing, in a group? And of course, like I said, I knew about Pura Fe and Sharon and others, who had groups. And okay, maybe this would be a good thing to do. So I asked some ladies, and we started our group. And when we sang in a number of places then, there were elder men who would say, you know, you girls sound really good and it reminds me of my grandma. And when that happened, I thought, oh, it's just those young men that don't really, you know, understand, or they haven't heard, or, you know, that because those were the ones that had been asking the questions, you know. And so then I kind of, you know, just continued. But I told the ladies that we sing with, I said, you know, sometimes when we sing, there you might have people ask you questions, and you know, that however you respond to that is your own business. But you know, me to say I can't sing, or saying I can't breathe, you know, like that's part of who I am. It's part of our human right, and to think that, you know, that we can't is I just, it baffled me, like I said. And then Pura Fe always shares this story about one of the ladies in my group, because we were talking about it, you know, because it's a topic when we have our gathering, and then we talk about lots of different things. And at the gathering, this one lady said, well, you know what I said? Well, I'm trying to learn how to be a woman, and I'm going to learn how to be a woman from other women. I'm not going to ask a man to teach me how to be a woman. You know, and that, you know, I thought that was pretty strong statement, and true, because our aunties and our grandmas and our mothers and our sisters and our cousins, like, you know, we hold all of these connections, like, you know, the we're the portals for that new life, and that we share that, and when that new life comes into the world, you know, we encourage them to sound their sound, because that's how we connect. That's all I'm gonna say. Miigwech, meet you.
Miigwech, Lyz. Did you want to say anything about the pictures that were shown? I think those were pictures that had you in them and some of the women you drum with.
Yeah, those are some of the ladies that we have in the group, Oshkigijik singers. And over the years, it changes. We've been singing together for 15 years, and we've had probably about 50 different women come and go. We have a core group, but it's really an honor to watch women find their voice, and then, you know, decide, you know, how they're going to do that. And some of the ladies that have sung with us over the years have gone on to, you know, start their own group, or it helps them in their, you know, personal life, or helps them in their career. And, you know, that's just such you know, it makes me feel so good to see that happening. And I know those other women who encouraged me, that's how they felt too, you know, watching me and other women, you know, singing, like that just makes people feel good. Like, who, you know, like it's just a natural thing. I just, yeah, why would we go against nature?
Hello there. I just want to share a few things. I've been sitting here listening, and I'm thinking of the spirits of those drums and how they came to be. You know, we have names, like spirit names for us as an Indigenous people, and so we've had names given to us, you know, through the lodges, through our, you know, our people that carry the gift of names. And sometimes we have a grandmother spirit that sits with us, but we also have a grandfather spirit that sits with us. And how I come to know that is through the dreams that I've had, and the drums that I've carried, you know. And like many years ago, when we first started doing our traditional women's drum gatherings, you know, we started off with that grandmother water drum in Saging, and then we went to other places and had those ceremonies and offerings and teachings around the drum. And at that time, there was a lot of controversy around women sitting at the drum, and the men. We invited the men to our gatherings, and there was a newfound respect for us. And some of the men had said, um, we don't even carry that drum that way that you women carry it. You carry it so differently, and so, it's so sacred the way that you carry this drum. And so some of them went back to the powwows, and again, there was a newfound respect there for some of the men that I knew in the circles, because I had sang behind the big drums many, many times, being a backup singer. But like Judy said, we started in the basement, we started in other people's house, and that's all we did. We were too shy to sing, and, and and it brought our voices out, to another level where we speak against the wrongs in society. We speak for the land and the waters. We sing as part of our prayers, when we go out there, or if there's something that's disturbing, that somebody's hurting in the hospital, or all these things. We render our songs. We make our songs as part of our prayers. And so we understand that spirit of those drums, and how they carry us, and carry our prayers and songs wherever they need to be. So this has been, a while in learning, and in my walk. I know there's men out there that don't agree, but I also men that do. I do know that agree, and give us that respect for carrying the drum. I also understand the impacts of colonization, where they have that little bit power, and they want to take that power to another level where they try and impress us spiritually. I always say that the drum came in a dream, and how can you oppress someone's dream? How can you oppress those grandmothers and grandfathers that came to give you that dream to help you as Anishinaabe Kwe? Like, no one owns those dreams. Those dreams were ancestor given, creator given. And so I always use that. There was a time that I wanted to quit singing, and I had a dream. And because it was so difficult out there, paving the way, I guess you could say, for the big drum. And I knew there was like support out there, but still, it was like racism. It's there every day. Well, same with the way that our men and also other men look at us, and it's really demoralizing, sometimes very demeaning, very disrespectful. And especially if you carry, our traditional, some of our traditional things, our drums and whatnot. And I know that they're looking for power because they're powerless. We have an ancient natural power that was God given, creator given to us, to bring life into this world. And so the men have lost their roles and responsibilities. They lost a lot of their own, how would I say that, their own power through colonization. So they impose that, how would I say, false power on us, and telling us what we should and shouldn't do, and especially around carrying the drums and the songs. For myself, like, I just, because of those dreams that I had, I think, well, I trust in spirit, I trust in ancestors, instead of, the human beings. But at one time when I wanted to quit, and I'm not, dropping names here. Years ago, I probably about 28 years ago, I wanted to quit singing, and the day my son was born was the day that I received another drum. And then I thought, well, what is this about? Like, this is like I'm birthing a new drum. I'm birthing my son. And then not too long after that, again, I was having difficulties. Again, I want to quit, but like that man gave me that drum when my son was born. Then when I wanted to quit, I had that dream of, I dreamt of the late John Trudell, and I dreamt his grandfather came to me, and he said, "I'll always be behind you." He said to me, he said, "Whenever you sing, I'll be there behind you." And I said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Peking." I said, "Like Peking, China?" Like, so, and this dream stayed with me, but there's a lot more to that dream. And then I thought, well, how do I get a hold of John Trudell? And then I thought, well, I'll write to his company, where he makes his music from, or his writings. And so I thought I'll do that. And that's what I did. I wrote, I had a dream. I need to talk to you. And then I smudged my letter, being, hoping that it'll get to him, and being in that spiritual realm that somehow I'll connect to him and tell him of this dream, because I'm a great believer in dreams. My dreams have guided me. I've walked through my dreams many a times. And so he made contact with me 3 weeks later. He called me, and of course, I'm on the phone. I'm saying, yeah, right. Yeah, right. You're not John Trudell. No, get out of here. And then he says, for real, I'm John Trudell. He said, you sent me a letter, and you said my grandfather was so-and-so. And I said, yeah, wow. And so I talked with him for several hours. And he told me, he says, well, if this grandfather came to you, he said, this grandfather came to help you to continue singing. And then so, that brought me comfort in knowing that, that, yeah, this grandfather's with me, and I'll continue singing. And same with this grandmother that sits with me at the drum all the time. She teaches me songs. She says, let's move over. I'll teach you. This is the way you sing it. So I've had these ancestors that have come. So I know that they sit with these drums, and I know these drums have spirits, and I don't believe that anybody can have a say in your spiritual connection to the spiritual world, to your ancestors, to those drums, to any sacred items that we have as Anishinaabe Kwe. Like that would be just like, the Catholic schools, that would be just like the police policing us and what we should and shouldn't do in our spiritual walk. And that's all I want to say right now. Miigwech.
If I could add on or just follow Chickadee, I'd like to say a few words. She just struck a lot of emotional things in me. Again, my name is Bidana Dukwe, Mushkazibing and Dunjaba, Ajijakendo Dam, Bad River Ojibwe, and Oneida, Crane Clan. So I just wanted to share, I think for me, like, I wanted to start by talking about my mom. My mom started to sing on the big drum. I think it was about 1991. And at that time, I was a young lady in my late 20s. And she took a lot of heat for that, her and her elder women friends. And they were in Milwaukee, and they were gifted a drum from the women from the Penobscot band of Native women from Penobscot Nation. And at that time, my mom was a very, she was like a strong Catholic woman, but I always teased her because I said, Mom, you're not a Catholic, because she really didn't follow the doctrines. Like, all her ideas were not like of the Catholic doctrine. I said, Mom, you're just a really good church goer. You like to pray. So, but anyway, that was the way she was. And so she had belonged to this church. Actually, she helped start this church in Milwaukee. And it's called the Congregation of the Great Spirit. So what they wanted to accomplish at this church was they wanted to incorporate Native tradition into the church. So they do smudging there, they do tobacco, and then they would invite drums to do honor songs for certain things that went on there, such as baptisms, communions, all that kind of stuff. So then what happened was they couldn't every time that they asked a drum group to come and perform an honor song for them. They were too busy or they were going to powwows or whatever. So the women and her elder friend said, you know what, that's it. We're going to start our own drum because we need a drum here every Sunday. So that's when they met the Penobscot women and they brought them. Oh man, am I staticky? Can everybody hear me okay? Can you hear me now?
It's a little staticky, but we can still hear you, Dona.
Oh, okay. So anyway, my mom started this drum and they took a lot of flack from the community. And so that's what when I first saw all of the backlash. It was in Milwaukee at the time. And a couple of years later, after the dust settled, she asked me if I wanted to sing on the drum. And I said no, because I wasn't ready. And I was confused, about whether or not I should do that because I didn't want to be, part of that controversy. So that's where I was at the time, I didn't do it. To finish off that story about my mom, years later, I did sit down and finally sing with her, but it was because I attended the moon dance I was invited to go moon dance, and I had a dream about the moon dance drum that she asked me, like she called to me, and she was being put away for the end of the moon dance. I wasn't on the drum that year, but I had a dream that I started crying because I wasn't going to see her for another year. And it was this connection that I had with that moon dance drum. And then Abuela Sylvia called me and said, Donna, I want to know if you want to be on the drum next year. And I said, absolutely. And I told her about the dream I had. So then I did that. And then I said, if Creator and the spirit of that drum is calling me to sing at the moon dance, then there's no reason why I can't sit down and sing with my mom at her drum. So it was years later that I finally sat down next to my mom and sang with my mom. And she passed away almost 3 years ago, so that's why I'm emotional. But anyway, I met Chickadee online or something. I can't remember, but I saw her website or her Facebook page, and I contacted her and I said, Chickadee, would you please come to Milwaukee? And Judy was there, and it's nice to see you, Judy. And she brought her whole group of women. And I said, I really want my mom to meet you ladies because she was always she was one of the last women that founded that woman's drum left. The rest of them just kind of fell to the wayside or they didn't want to drum no more or whatever, but my mom stuck to it. And so Chickadee came with her group about 5 years ago. And we had a session and singing and drumming, and plus we feasted the drum. And Chickadee and Judy were there, and they said, I don't know, they said that there's just a name for the drum. And Chickadee and Judy were sitting at the drum, and Judy told her, said, just say a prayer, Chickadee, and you'll name this drum, my mom's drum. And the name that came to Chickadee was Black Horse. So I wanted to show this to you. This was her vest. And you see the black horse? And it's got little beadwork on there and everything. And on the other side, there's a nice design. Well, this was my mom's vest. They had vests made. That's the back. And in honor of that name that Chickadee found with Judy, and they were very proud of that Black Horse drum, Black Horse singers. And when my mom passed away, she said, because we took her off of dialysis, She didn't want to be on it no more. And she told me what I'm supposed to dress her in when she died. I said, okay. She said, I want to wear this, and I want to wear my vest. So she wore this when she passed away. I had to dress her and put her in this. That's how much that drum meant to her. And she told me, she said, Donna, she said, drumming has really kept me healthy and happy all these years. And that's what drumming meant to her. And I'm just glad that Chickadee and all your group and Judy and everybody were part of that journey with her. And I'm honored. So I just wanted to mention that. I wanted to just tell the people how much that drum and singing meant to my mother, that she would stand up because she couldn't get anybody else to sing for these functions that she felt were important in her life and in the community's life. She's saying for life. She's saying for the people. And so I that's all I'm going to say for right now. So just thank you for listening.
Me Gretch Donna. I've been fighting back tears a lot of this conversation because I can see that, all of you, I just feel like are so brave and have really, paved the way, regardless of the pushback and some of the unkind words that you've received. And I just think it's so beautiful and so brave for all of you and for those ones that have taught you and come before you. Theresa, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I can share. I'll start from the beginning. When I was younger, I had a grandfather that lived with us. And I never understood why he didn't like how if we wore our choker or a ribbon shirt or anything native, if we walked in the same room where he was sitting, if we went by him and he saw us, he would get just so disgusted. He didn't want to see us. He would just go, oh, like that, and just get up and walk in the other room. And I was so young seeing him doing that to us all the time. And I never understood why until I got older and I learned about the residential school and how the residential school, of him going to residential school, they really did brainwash him to be ashamed of who he was as a Native person. And so when he saw us being proud of who we are, Native, and wearing our outfits, our jewelry, our chokers, or our moccasins even, he would just get so disgusted because of the brainwash that he went through. So a lot of our people, they have been through that, and they're all brainwashed. They're colonized, as I heard earlier. So we really have to try hard. We have to work hard because all these generations that's been passed down to. And I remember going to college, and I was making friends, and there was some girls from New York City. They start speaking to me in Spanish, and I go, no, I'm Native American. I'm not Spanish. I can't speak your language. And then I remember how shocked they were. They're like, what? I go, yeah, I'm Native American. I'm Mohawk. I'm Ganyakahaga. And they says, we learned you all died. What do you mean you're Native American? We learned in school that you all died. And that just kind of just floored me. I never heard anyone say that or think that before. I couldn't believe people thought that we died. There's still a lot of us, So that was another another seed that was planted for me to try my hardest to learn as much of the language, learn as much as the culture, learn as much as the sounds as I can, and to teach our young ones. And when I got older and I started having my own family and stuff and my babies, and my husband at the time, we're not together now, but at the time I was a young mom with a lot of little ones. We had 5 little ones, and I was home alone a lot. And the sounds, I used to sing with my brothers. They're the first ones that taught me the sounds. So I would hear them singing, and I just love to sing. This is my water drum. I just sing it really loud. I loved it. It made me feel so good. So when I had my little ones, I'd sing with them and put them to sleep with the sounds. It was like, it builds my spirit inside, and it still does. I want to encourage everyone to find that spirit, whatever makes them happy, to make it shine bright again. And because the sounds that we share and teach, it's like medicine. And a lot of days, mothers will write me, or when the little ones, I can hear them singing the sounds that they learned. It just makes me so happy, so grateful, because that gift that was given to us, we're sharing it, with the people, and we just got to remember that why we're here with the gifts. We have to share it and to help our spirits grow, because it's medicine. And we have to teach. We have to keep teaching. I know that happens to our women's group too. I have a traditional women's group called Gundi Wanahawi, the Carriers of the Words. And we would go to socials at our longhouse, and we'd be working so hard, and then like keeping things going. And then we wouldn't even get asked to sing at the social. Like we didn't ask, okay, what are you gonna sing? The whole social would go by and no one asked us to sing. And sometimes we felt so bad. It's because the men take over on it, and it's just it really made me feel bad. I remember one night I couldn't believe that they did that to us, and I woke up one early in the morning one morning, and I looked out, and the full moon was still there in the sky. And I looked at her, and I go, it was like she had a message for me. She said, sometimes the men, they'll do that to you, to the women. They'll make you feel bad. She goes, your father, well, my father was really strict. Sometimes he made me feel bad. And she goes, like, she reminded me of my father, my brothers. They like try and belittle you and make you feel bad about who you are as a woman, as a girl. She goes, but you got to keep on. You got to keep being strong. Pick up those sounds and share them. It was like her message that she was telling me right there. So whenever I see the moon too, the grandmother moon, I always feel that power she has for us. And she's watching over us. And we got to remember that she's there for us, And it's good that we're there for each other. I love being here with all of you. So, now for listening. I hope I make sense. I just keep going. Yeah.
Great. You made sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense.
I'm wondering if I can ask Judy to talk about a time of the prophecy that was brought forth to you, or drum. They asked you to leave, and then they told you of a prophecy. I wonder, Judy, if you can share that.
You're on mute, Judy. I'm sorry. There you go.
There. Okay. So like I said, I want to say thank you to all the women sharing so far, and it's like I go into a dream a dream state when I hear your voice. And what keeps coming to me is I want to hear you sing, and I want to hear your voice. Even, you know, towards the end, if we could sing like a little tiny verse of our favorite song, because I feel hungry for that, like to hear your voice. Because I know Theresa Bear Fox. I listen to her, and like I'll be doing dishes, and I'll put Theresa Bear Fox playlist, ukulele playlist, you know. And then Richelle came to my mom's funeral. My mom passed away in August, and she came and helped with the Medewan ceremony they did, and she has such a beautiful voice. So after, I'd like to hear that, and at the end, and Chickadee. So for the prophecy, I don't know it inside and out, but I'll just tell you, when me and my sister and the drum, we went to, well, and my nieces, we went to Wabagoon Lake, which is by Dryden. And my daughter was a little baby then, and we brought the big drum, and we didn't think nothing, like we just brought the big drum to a traditional powwow. And as soon as we pulled out the drum, a woman came and she said, "What are you doing?" And we said, "We wanna sing in this powwow." And she looked really scared, and we didn't know why she was scared. And she said, give me some time. I gotta go talk to the elders." And she left. So we sat on the side of this powwow for about an hour. And then she came back. And she says, "The reason why I'm scared is because we have a prophecy that when the women come out with the drum, it'll be a time of war." And it just really scared me when I saw that big drum and your women coming. She said that was what we were taught. And she said all these years it's just been men drumming. And then she said the elder said to allow you to come in a circle and to sing, because it's the way of the prophecy that it has come to be now. They're just scared what the war meant. So what I feel like is, like, when you think of war, like a long time ago, our ancestors, when they heard war, I think it's a different meaning than the war today. And I think the war today is the war on Mother Earth and the war on Indigenous women, missing and murdered Indigenous women, children, and boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the war we're facing, and the war of losing our language, our culture, and our way of life. I feel like that's what it is. And maybe our ancestors said, when these women come with the drum, it's us, like all of you in this circle here. We are in a war to fight for our people to be alive, our way of life to keep going, for our babies, for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And I think our vision is there, like when we hit the drum and that spirit talks to us when we sing our songs. And just like right now, when I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm in a dream. I'm in like some kind of aura or some kind of vibe that just like makes me feel safe. So like the prophecy that Chickadee reminded me of, that's what it was in Wabagoon Lake in 1990s. And my sister still has that big drum. Miigwech.
Miigwech. Oh, wow. Some wheelies.
Yeah.
Miigwech. Does anyone else have anything they want to share at this time? Well, are you shaking your head, Pura Fe? Or Lyz?
Yes. Okay. I would like to say something. Oh, but if you want to speak, Liz, go for it.
I was just gonna say miigwech to Judy for sharing that. It was really powerful, and I know that this is what's happening. And when the drumstick I carry, which I had to come to the office, so I don't have it here with me. But when someone gave me that drumstick, they said, because it's the one that has the circle on the end that has that, and they said this is like Ogitchida, and the work of the Ogitchida has changed. The warriors' work has changed since the 1800s. But you are doing the work. You're doing this work, and so they gave me that drumstick, and I carry that very humbly because that's where we're at. We are at that point where the women are being asked to stand up and to give voice to all of the things that are happening, to the earth and to women, and I think sometimes when we are asked, when we feel compelled to speak out, or when we're asked to speak, that it does scare people. And I think I shared with the group earlier that I currently sit on the city council for the border town on the reservation, and I was elected, and I started my term in January, and I can tell that this is a new era. This is a new chapter, not just within our own communities, but with our neighbors, with the settler population, and stepping up and doing these things, whether it's with our drum, our voice, or the deeds, or the interactions that women have a different way of doing things than than men usually, and so we're stepping up to that to fulfill those roles, and like I said, I try to do so humbly. So miigwech for sharing that, Judy.
Miigwech, Lyz. Pura Fe, would you want to share now?
Sure. Yeah, I would like to say thank you to everybody as well. And I just want to say a couple of things that, I was reading not too long ago, a couple of days ago, about, I remember Orville, it said Orville Looking Horse had, I don't know how to call it, but I guess he had a rejuvenation, or a renewal, that was the name, renewal of the old drums. People don't even realize that these drums, the big drum came like in the 1800s. And I know this is kind of backpedaling here, but I just want people to know. But I need to have this said. And I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I'm going to say it. And when they came together, it's a lot of the Ojibwe people were the ones that were given the big drum. And I guess it came from a Santee woman called Tail Feather Woman. And she's the one that had the vision and about the big drum. And I'm not going to go through all the details, but it was her vision. and it was a time of war, and it was the Bluecoats that came in and massacred her village. And so this drum was made through her vision, her teachings, and the songs, all of it. And it went to all these, they went east, I think, and they went to all the different Ojibwe territories and went as far as like Kickapoo people. And I mean, it just went everywhere. The big drum came from this woman. And it wasn't, the drums were not only given to men, but they were also given to women. And so everyone, it wasn't about gender, it was about peace. And I think, you know, listening to a lot of these elder men that I've been meeting in some of these meetings up here, and the way they talk to the women is, I'm having a hard time with it. I don't like it. And I see how a lot of the young women are really suffering, and they're going through a lot of abuse, some of them in their home, and with all the drugs and so much going on, just beating you down that you can't even fight for land. And these women need this. This is their medicine. It's everyone's, all these nations. And it's, you know, after what was more than a year ago, I ended up in Sagin, and I was invited to be with all of these women. Few of you are here. And I sat down at the big drum for the first time. And I walked into a room and there were like 5, 6, 7 big drums, and they were all women, and there was one with just little girls. I was just like, I have never seen anything like this in my life. And it was just amazing. I love Ojibwe women. They pull ceremonies right out of their arms, and they go, bam! And there it is. And it just happens. And it's all so spontaneous. And it's all spirit, so alive. And it's just the way it's supposed to be. And we're fighting this rigid patriarchal thing that's holding us down. And listening to some of these men, I mean, they're trying to get back to tradition. And, you know, a lot of our elders are learning. They're relearning. And a lot of them are bringing in what they know through the residential, through the missionary. So you have that kind of energy coming out, and it's oppressing even more. Sometimes they do more damage than good. And I don't mean any offense. I really don't. But it's just, at this point, I am now with these young women. I'm not talking about these 3 little ones, but other women from some of the reserves up here, and working with them. And the one thing that they all want to do is sing and drum. And after I was at the big gathering in Sagin with you women, I came home and my husband helped me make a big drum, but it's a grandmother's drum. And it's open at the bottom. This is how I saw it. It's open at the bottom with legs. It's like the skirt that we wear. It's got 13 prongs in it. I wanted it that way, with these metal loops. And I tied it down for the 13 moons, and I tied it around twice for the duality, our twins. And I braided it off on the west with the body, mind, and spirit as the umbilical cord. I did the whole 9 yards. This is the drum. And I want to use it for the women on the East Coast, because we have this Eastern women's blanket dances going on these days, and the canoe songs, and there's so much more music ready to, like, poof, happen. And so that's why I wanted to do this today with all of you women. I just want the women to be able to move forward and let that gushing energy that we have, that so connects everything and everybody. And that's all I'm going to say.
Beautiful.
I'm a cartoon character, I know. But anyway.
It's very energetic and lively. I love this.
No.
I just want to say something, just two things, and I want to make it brief. I had a dream many years ago. There were warrior teachings. And so one of the things that I dreamt of was a warrior dance. And so I was talking to one of my friends, he's of the Bear Clan, and he was Haudenosaunee. And he was telling me that there was a suicide that happened of an 11-year-old. And he was talking to his elders, and he said, the elder said, we have to bring out our war dance, and our war dance hasn't happened in 100 years, he said. And then he said, would you be willing to come? And I said, no, I can't. I just started a new job. I'm sorry. You know, like this dream was meant for him, but also for me, a teaching around the teachings of the warrior. And so he said, he came and called me again a few days later. He says, we're going to put this warrior dance on. He says, because we're fighting against suicide. He said, we're going to fight for our children. He said, and we're going to allow the women to dance. He said, because they're the warriors now. He said, our men are you know, they're raising the children now. They're the protectors and providers of the children. So he said, we're going to include the women in this war dance. So I thought, wow, that's pretty, you know, beautiful. Like I never imagined my dream would bring a war dance out, and nor would it, you know, bring the women to dance alongside the men. And because today they are the providers, they are the protectors. And the other thing I want to say that speaks strongly to me too is the fact that you know, our babies, our children, they hear our voices first. When I was carrying my son, I sang a lot. You know, I was teaching back in the day. I was teaching drumming and singing, and so for the first 3 years, he really didn't talk. He sang, and then, but our children, our babies, they hear our lullabies. They know our love in a different way, and we know love in a different way than men. So when our babies are you know, tiny, we're singing our lullabies to them. We're singing our kukum songs to them. We're singing those songs, and it's our songs they hear first. Our babies hear our voices first, our songs first. So I just want to share that. Miigwech.
I would like to just say a few things because I've been touched by so many of the beautiful women here tonight. And I can't remember who said it, but again, it isn't about gender, right? It isn't about male and female. And I know that Chickadee has two-spirit people. Our LGBT community are welcome at her big drum. And to me, that's a very powerful message, because if we're, as women, you know, our gifts are leadership and clarity and vision, right? And Judy spoke about that vision, that these things are coming. And now I think as we found our voice as women, our two-spirit community is speaking out, and they're teaching us, right? And so if we're being pushed away as women from the big drum, then what is happening also to our two-spirit, right? And so it all fundamentally comes back to this sense of worthiness. And, you know, it's not just the men that do some shaming. When I sing very loud and I sing very high. And I remember an elder pulling me aside at Sundance, telling me that what I was doing was wrong. And the women don't sing that high. And you shouldn't be singing that high. And then I remember another elder that was the one that always pulled me away from my area where I was sundancing, would actually pull me to the drum. And he would say to me, you sing. And I was primarily singing for my healing, right? My grandmother was sick with cancer, and I was singing my loudest and my proudest for her, right? And then it didn't dawn on me, the little bit that I did at the Sundance, how much it actually affected the women in the Moon Lodge, because they were so far away from the Sundance grounds. The only voice they heard was mine. They didn't hear the men, right? And so for me, that right away was an answer from Creator that no, we sing loud, we sing proud, and sing high. And so I've always taught all of my babies that. My girls, again, just like Chickadee said, I sang to them. They know my voice. They all had drums probably before they could write and walk, right? And now I have a grandson who I'm teaching the same things to. And so this passes on through our clarity as women and our vision, because those were the gifts that were given to us. Gretch.
Me, Gretch. Well, how's everyone feeling? Like singing? Pura Fe is going to be right back. This has just been incredibly wonderful, and I'm just so humbled and honored to be in this space with all of you. As a young person and someone who's heard many of these teachings on one side or the other, and been struggling to understand. I think this has been such a gift, and I'm just thankful that we were able to provide this platform to have this conversation.
There's this thing that happened this week. It was really critical, but it was a suicidal person, and the person I called was Chickadee, and I always called him. I said, "I need help, please." This woman was suicidal because her daughter had, committed suicide in February 2020, and Chickadee, I called her, "Help me, please. I need to save this woman." So I wanted to ask Chickadee if she could sing at least one verse of that song. And I'm sure Theresa Bear Fox will just catch on to it. Dona, Richelle probably already knows what it is. Sharon, Pura Fe. So I wanted Chickadee, if you could sing that, and I'll do my best to sing with you. But I want to reach those young people out there that are thinking like that, because I know we face that all the time, and we have so many losses in our community. And I know Chickadee again is in the center of that, because one of our sister drum singers had lost her son. He got murdered. Was that a couple of days ago, Chickadee? Or
Yeah, a couple of days ago, but when we sing our songs, we vision our songs and those ancestors to come and help. And sometimes I do have those visions and see things, because I consider my songs prayers, and no one can tell me different. And because I know there's an unseen power, and I've taken my dreams and songs to the lodge. But also today I've been crying off and on. As women, we know life different because we carry that life. And the finding of 215 babies in Kamloops, broke my heart today. And every time I think of suicide among our children and our youth, I think that's, the final act of genocide. So we sing, like I've always taught the women, sing from your heart. Some of us have, they say, "I don't have a good voice, I can't sing." I say, just sing from your heart. And that's what I've always encouraged. And myself, I've sing that. So I just want to sing like maybe one verse of that song. I don't feel like I want to sing because I'm pretty emotional right now. I've been emotional all day because of those babies found in Kamloops, BC. And knowing, death touches us all in different ways, and suicide too. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional.
You don't have to be sorry.
Way out, hey, hey, oh, hey. No, that's not the wrong one. Sorry. Benesi. No. Benesi wakungi wapma. Mi gwech jindena. Hey, oh, hey, yahoo, hey, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, ah, hey, ah. Way, oh, hey, ah, oh, hey, oh, hey, ah, hey, oh. Way oh hey oh hey ya hey ya hey ya way oh hey ya ho hey oh hey ya hey oh way oh hey oh hey ya hey ya way oh hey ya ho hey oh hey ya hey oh Venesi, Venesi, Wakingi Wapma, Mi Gwech Jindena, Wayu Hey, Ahu, Hey, 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 Wayu Hey, 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 Wayu Hey, Ahu, Hey, Hey, we used to go and sing outside the hospital. My sister has cancer, and we used to go sing outside the hospital. We would render songs here in my home, and ask other women across. And sometimes we would sing together and say, "We're going to sing in 6 minutes." And Judy would go to the sacred fire. Other sisters would bring their songs, and it was just for the healing, for my sister or whoever it is that needed those prayers or songs. We would always connect together and sing those songs. And I believe in those songs. I believe in the power of those songs. I believe in our voices, and I believe in women singing at the drum. Miigwech.
Miigwech for that beautiful song. Does anyone else want to share any words, any songs?
I think just to further what Chickadee is saying, and I think it's a really powerful teaching when, most of us have either dreamed for our drums, right? Or we've had visions and have said prayers on behalf of feasting our drums and all of the stuff that we do as traditional women. I think it's important to often remind ourselves about how we speak, right? And that vibration of voice and that vibration of drum is a sound that carries on. It doesn't stop. It's like when we throw a pebble into the water, those waves eventually hit the shoreline, sometimes with devastating consequences, depending on what it is that's making those waves. And so when I teach our young ones about that drum, I'm talking about when you're approaching that drum with good intent, right? And approaching our voices with good intent, we're sending out vibrations of healing, just like that beautiful song Chickadee just sang for us. So those vibrations are hitting people, and in a good way, because they're coming from a loving place. I know Chickadee's heart, and I know her soul, and she does always things with love. And so I think it's important that as women, we know that our dreams are strong, and that we know our voices are strong, and the intent of when we're hitting our drum to have that vibration be sent out in a good, kind, and loving way, because that vibration will hit those that it's either intended to hit or not. And so just to remember that vibration goes on, right? And that's essentially what we want as women, right? With our babies and our grandbabies, we want that vision and that vibration to go on, right? And have it be passed on continually for at least the next 7 generations.
Wow.
I wanted to say one more thing. There's this new thing that happens with ribbon skirts and women under time, and like the newest thing I've been hearing is birthing a drum, and where they make a hand drum, and then before they use it, they have to get a name for the drum. And if they get a name for the drum, they have to feast it, and goes on and on and on. Like all these protocols that are popping up Another thing I heard was in a funeral, a woman walked in there with a red dress, and then she was told, you can't walk in here with a red dress, go take that off. So there's like all these like skirt shaming or whatever, you know, you're not wearing a skirt, you can't come in here. I wanted to decolonize some things, because like my sisters always tell me, like my biological sisters, our people were very simple people. Very simple, like not meaning like in a like they're simple, but they did things very like very purely, and they didn't have all those like big huge like protocols. Like even the ribbon, you know, I was told you're not supposed to wear such big fat ribbons on a ribbon skirt, you know, they're supposed to be this size, they're supposed to be one circle, no designs. So what I wanted to say to whoever these young people are listening is follow your heart. Sometimes these protocols are man-made, and you need to follow your heart and listen to that. And that's what me and Chickadee always follow. We call it listening to spirit. And we have a wigwam, and people have come in there and they've come with their rules around them, you know, come walk in there with their rules, and they say, oh, you got to walk in clockwise, and you know, like that. And I tell the women, it's okay, you don't have to walk in clockwise, you know, just come in however you feel good. So I try and like put those, I may go against people that are setting up all these rules, but I also want to say some of them could be from colonialism and how it kind of stalls us, kind of stops us. And my late brother, adopted brother Larry Morissette, he told me all our people carried pipes. All our people had feathers. Some people say, oh no, you can't get a pipe until you dream of it, or till an elder tells you, like it's all these rules. But what Larry said was that all our people had pipes. All our people had songs, they had feathers. So I want to break away all those kind of stuff that have been put in front of us. Miigwech.
Yeah, how Judy miigwech.
Can I just say a couple words too? So that, you know, I like what Judy just had, what she had to say about other sacred items and the pipes. And because I remember too, when I first got my pipe, my brother was telling me, you know, women from Bad River, they don't carry pipes. And, you know, I'm just like, well, you know what? I got one. And, you know, it hurt my feelings because it was coming from my brother. And then also, like, I'm going to show you this picture real quick. So there's my mom and my great grandma, and that's an eagle staff. And in the powwow circle, you know, they say, oh yeah, only veterans are supposed to carry eagle staffs. Right? That's what some say. Well, my great grandma carried an eagle staff. And you know, so she was Medewan, and plus she had to go underground with that, and you know, and she carried an eagle staff. And I remember like people saying, well, because I had brought it out to a couple gatherings, and then it was talk about, well, am I a veteran? You know, and only veterans are supposed to have this, and only men are supposed to have that. And then I also just, one last thing I wanted to say, even a long time ago, I read somewhere that, you know, before women even fancy shawl danced, that was shamed, that they didn't allow women to fancy shawl dance So I don't know if any of you ladies have heard that one, because it's just something I remember in my memory. So anyway, that's about all I want to say right now.
Miigwech, Dona. It's a very beautiful picture. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else have any final words or any songs or? Sharon.
I'd like to share a song if I could.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that helps me to put a protection around my family, and I'd like to invite all of you to put like a white light of protection around them also. It came to me on a vision quest, and I'd like to share this one. It's called Gaya Linio Gueteke, meaning our 4 protectors from all directions. Gaya li Niungweta ke ovantuka asquayena se atano nane aquagile ovantuka asquayena Yo, yo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, yo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, hayo, yo, hayo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, ana yo, yahi. Kayali. Niungweta ke owantuka asquayena se atano nane aquachile owantuka asquayena Yo, yo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, yo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, yo, ana yo, yahi. Yo, ana yo, yahi. And I'd like to thank all the women for sharing their sounds and their stories. You're helping me so much by sharing also. Yeah. Yahola.
Miigwech for sharing that beautiful song. I think Sharon, you wanted to share?
I just wanted to say, you know, that this is my drum, and it is, you know, it was made out of buffalo. I made it probably 11 years ago, and you know, it's not exactly perfect anymore. Like over time, it's got a little concave, but this drum has taken me and has been with me from coast to coast. We walked about 20 rivers, and this drum has been with me, and it's like just a beautiful old friend, and sometimes the beauty isn't in a drum that is like perfectly painted, but I know what it means to me. You know, it has the water, it has my hand, it has a little bolt of lightning, and you know, like you say, it's not perfect, but it's perfect to me. And sometimes that beauty is in that discordant note or something that is slightly imperfect. And I just want to say that, you know, like this, and say Chimagwech to my drum. I've helped people make many drums, and I could have made a new drum so many times, but this this is my drum, and it is so special to me. And I just want to say that, and say Chimagwech for being here, and to all the women, and Theresa, that was a lovely, lovely song. Thank you.
Wow, thank you all so much. Does anyone else have any final closing remarks, or anyone want to close us out with a song? Although we've had two beautiful songs already.
I was gonna ask those girls, but they, at this hour they're kind of kooky. But you know how they get, right? But
I
I'm gonna
really would
ask
like
them
to
really-
hear, just a bit of a song from each of the women, because it helps me, like Pura Fe, you don't know that you've been also, somebody that inspired me. I say, I want to be like Pura Fe.
Oh
If
my
you can
God.
sing a song, just one verse each, that's going to fill my heart, just like Judy says, because my heart's been hurting all day. So if you can
Mm,
share something, and this is what we do, when our children and our grandchildren, we sing them songs, we share songs they can carry, and those songs carry us too. Miigwech.
okay.
I'd like to start. I'm raring to sing. So I also want to say thank you to everyone, because I know we're trying to wrap it up, and then I want to sing this song. But I too want to also just tell Pura Fe that years ago, when I first heard your group Eulali, I was so honored to have met you guys at Indian Summer, and when you came there, and I remember just playing that CD. And in the morning, I would take a bath and I would just turn it on, and it just healed my heart. All those songs just made me feel so good. Rich. And there was these guys that lived downstairs, or no, they had a carpet company, and they used to come downstairs and early in the morning and get their stuff, and they'd wake me up, and I'd put on my CD, and I told them, I said, you guys wake me up every morning. I said, geez, I'm trying to sleep an extra half an hour here. And then they'd say, well, you keep playing all them Indian songs real loud. Whatever. I just thought it was funny, but just a funny story. Well, I just want to sing part of my water song for healing, because since as Anishinaabe Kwe women, we are keepers. We pray for that water. And Sharon, you're a beautiful water woman here in our communities. And so all of you, and especially for Sharon. I will do it for the water. I will do it for the children. We will do it for the water, for the next 7 generations. So it's longer than that, but I just want to do a little version and hope that heals our water and all of our hearts and all the water in our bodies.
Miigwech, Dona. It's very beautiful. Does anyone else? Lyz is off to get her hand drum.
while we're waiting for Lyz, this is a prayer song I made some years ago, and I'll just do it quickly. Wabanang, shawanang, ingabiang kiwadanang. Wabanang, shawanang, ingabiang kiwadanang. Miigwech wendan, ni mama ki. Miigwech wendan, ishpaming. Miigwech wendan, bimadisiwin. Miigwech wendan, no komisanan. Miigwech wendan, mishomisanan. Miigwech wendan, gijemanidu. Miigwech wendan, no komisanan. Miigwech wendan, mishomisanan. Miigwech wendan, gijemanidu. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Sharon.
Miigwech.
Did I miss it?
Yeah. That's okay. You can go back and watch the video. Did you want to give a song, Lyz?
Oh, okay. So I only found this really ringy drum. I'm in there's a studio, but I worked with those old recordings from the Densmore collection. That's part of my work that I do here at my college, and I'm going to go on to get a PhD, and I'll do more work with those recordings. And my group, we did a recording called Anishinaabe Yahola, and one of the songs was celebrating a woman who, back when the Anishinaabe were at war with neighboring tribes, a Dakota warrior came into their camp and started to cause violence, and this grandmother stood up and fought for her village, and she was like so powerful in her resistance that she like ripped apart canoe with her bare hands, and they made this song to celebrate her. And so we tried to recreate, we tried to redo it with my women's group. I wish they were here to sing it with me, because I think that makes it even better. But so I'll try to do my best.
Miigwech, Lyz, very beautiful.
Lyz Rich.
Anyone else thinking of a song?
I guess I can go. I don't know how I might blow everybody's ears off, so I'm going to try to sing quiet, but that's not my thing. So this song was given to me by the late Neil Hall. It's a song we sing in our resistance walks, but it's a healing song, so you're asking Creator for healing. And I always, since these conversations are healing, I thought maybe that would be a good way to for me to sing that song. Okay. I don't usually sing with my glasses on. Sorry.
Miigwech, Richelle. It came across just beautiful. Anyone else?
Judy, sing a song. Sing your Wich Duen Nagaman.
Okay. I was just gonna say that, like, me and Chickadee, we've been like all over the land, and one time I think we made it like by Alberta, and was like we made it about 11 o'clock at night, and we went into this strange home, and that was with Lorna, born with a tooth, and the men were talking, and the women kind of disappeared into the back room, which was us. And they shared these songs with us. And the best thing we could use was a frisbee. They had a frisbee and they're using it as a trumpet. But they taught us so much songs, and it was just like, how do you call it? Like, they shared the songs with us, and the songs stayed in our hearts because we left them the next day or like a couple of days later, and that's how me and Chickadee learned songs. We went to Alkali Lake, and the shoe shop was Squepmec Women, Mega Samson. They taught us songs, and they just stayed with us. And I'm not much of a singer, but my daughters, they have really beautiful voices. My nieces have really beautiful voices. But I just remember some songs. So the one I want to sing to you is from Mega Samson in Alkali Lake. And I'll just sing a little tiny bit. A Chickadee could sing with me. Way ha ho, way ha ya hey ha ya hey oh. Way ha ho, way ha ya hey ha ya hey oh. Way ha ya hey ha ya hey. Ya hey ha, way ha ya hey ha ya hey. Way ha ya hey ha ya hey. Way ha ya hey ha ya hey. Ya hey ha, we ha, ya hey ha, ya hey. That's it. And guess what the name of that song is? Chickadee could say it.
It's a snagging song. It's Sexy Buns. That's what it's called.
Dang, I didn't know we were singing 49ers.
So that's it. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Judy, and I think you have a very beautiful voice. So, dun dun dun. Pura Fe.
Okay, I'll sing. I'll sing one verse. This song I wrote with my husband because Richelle asked if I would write something, a traveling song, and for the play called Honor Beat, written by Tara Began. And of course, I'm not a Cree speaker, but my husband is. So we put this song together. And actually, this is the piece of this song went into the song for line 3, Against the Pipeline. And the song that Larry Long wrote, No More Pipeline Blues. And so if you hear the chant in that song, that's what it is. And for the first time in decades, Eulalie, the original Eulalie, we came together and recorded. And we will be recording in the near future together. So here it goes. Can you hear that? I thought the girls would come in and sing it. Usually they sing it. They sing it well. Those little munchkins. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for everything.
Wow. Well, I don't know how I follow any of that. Wow. Except to say that what the words that were spoken here tonight, and the teachings and the songs, those things matter to a lot of people. A lot of people that are struggling in our communities to find their voice, as you all spoke about. So I'm just, again, I know there's no word in our language for honored, but that's all I can think of is how honored I am to share space with you all. And I recognize that I'm just a young learning soul over here still. And so I appreciate you all letting me be part of this conversation and sharing space with you. And if I could just be, grow up to be just even half of the woman and that you all are, I think I'd be doing pretty good. And so I just want to say that what we've done here tonight matters. We've seen that in the comments and the people that are waiting to see the video after this and share it around with their friends and family. And I see this as just one beginning conversation to a much larger conversation that we could continue to have. And lastly, I'd just like to say that I hope I see you all again down the road and continue to share space and hear your beautiful songs and connect with you all in the future. So I'll shut up now. And if anyone else wants to close us in any other type of way, we can do that, or we can just say, you know, Mama Pi Minoa Koabmin, and we'll see you all later.
Thank you.
Miigwech.
Yeah,
Miigwech.
that was a
Yahweh.
great.
Miigwech.
Gijimigwech.
Miigwech.